What's up, guys? Welcome back to another edition of 101 Sports and Cards. As I'm Nathan Holloway, and with me, Jared Dresch.
What's going on?
We're gonna start in the NFL, like we always do. And there was a lot of injuries last week to a lot of top guys. Of course, you can't really say this guy's a top guy anymore. But Deshaun Watson's out the rest of the season with a torn Achilles. Perfect timing with me just buying that Jameis auto. Of course, Jameis was their third-string quarterback for the game because Dorian Thompson-Robinson was their backup for some reason. He came in. He also got hurt. He also threw 2 interceptions. The Browns did sign Bailey Zappi off the Chiefs practice squad, but Jameis Winston is starting this weekend. I really don't want to deep dive into just the fans' reaction to Deshaun Watson because you can go listen to Myles Garrett's speech or go listen to Jameis's speech because they applauded him getting injured, which is sad. Like I don't care what you do in life. I would never wish somebody to get hurt, especially with a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
But unless somebody killed somebody, then go ahead. But Deshaun Watson hasn't killed anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah. 49ers had a couple of guys injured. Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL and MCL. He's out for the rest of the season. It's not like he actually showed up in any game. He had one good game, and that was it. Debo was hospitalized for pneumonia, so he's questionable for this weekend. Probably won't play. George Kittle also has a foot injury, and he's week to week. So the 49ers season just continues to be injury-filled. They are expected to get Jawan Jennings back this weekend, though. So if he's still on your waiver wire in fantasy, pick him up. I was unable to do so. Mike Evans suffered a hamstring injury. He already had a hamstring injury. He re-aggravated it on Monday night. Of course, he's going to be out. They actually announced this. He's going to be out through Week 11. Week 11 is their bye week. Sucks for me because he's been my best receiver in fantasy, and now he's going to be out. But it sucks even more for the Bucs because he wasn't the only one that got hurt. Chris Godwin suffered a dislocated ankle. It did not look good at all if you've seen the video of it actually happening. He's going to be out for the rest of the season, and that game could be his last as a Buccaneer because he is a free agent this off-season. The Chiefs made a trade today for DeAndre Hopkins. They got him from the Titans for a 5th-round pick that could turn into a 4th-round pick. Do you like this move?
Yeah. I hate it, though, being a Chiefs non-fan. But it makes them better.
This is a great trade. They actually tried to get Cooper Kupp from the Rams, but the Rams won a 2nd-round pick for Cooper Kupp. I will talk more about that in a second. And another guy, which goes with your team, that is on the Rams. But this is a great move for the Chiefs. DeAndre Hopkins. The Titans just need to trade everybody. They should go ahead and cut Malik Willis. Malik Willis isn't there. Malik Willis is good with Green Bay as the backup. They should cut Will Levis. He's not going to step on the field again for them this season. Mason Rudolph just took his starting job last week, even though he didn't play that well, but he played better than Will Levis has all season. But this is a great trade for the Chiefs. They needed a number 1 wide receiver with Rashee Rice injured and Travis Kelce clearly not being himself. And DeAndre Hopkins, people forget how good he was with the Texans whenever they had Deshaun Watson, and people forget his little stint in Arizona with Kyler Murray because, well, the team was trash, but them two were fun. The Raiders signed Desmond Ridder, so they just add another crappy QB to that room. Gardner Minshew is back as a starter because Aiden O'Connell broke his thumb on his throwing hand during last week's game, so he's going to be out a little bit. The Chiefs did have an injury. Their corner, Jalen Watson, suffered a broken fibula and tibia, so he is going to be out for the foreseeable future. The trade that I was going to talk about for the Rams is... So Cooper Kupp, they want a 2nd-round pick for him. Mm-hmm. They're probably going to get that. The Rams are not in contention to win anything because, they've had a really bad year. There are reports that the Vikings are interested in trading Sam Darnold for Matthew Stafford. There's been multiple reports about it from some okay sources, but apparently they are trying to get rid of Stafford, which would be a good time to do so since he's older. They're not going to win anything. They need a future QB. But would you like that as a Vikings fan.
Who would we trade for?
You would get Stafford, you would trade Sam Darnold, and probably picks.
I don't know. Because we got JJ, so, I mean, we get him next year. I think we should just keep what we have. All expectations want even going to make playoffs, and we're looking like one of the best teams in the league right now. So, I'd say keep what we have, because next year is supposed to be the year it's supposed to be better. So,
I would not trade for him. For one, Sam Darnold has looked like the MVP of the league, besides his one game in London.
Oh, yeah.
He looked good against the Lions somewhat.
He's got outplayed.
Yeah, he did. It was a great game, which we'll recap here in a second. But Sam Darnold's having an MVP-type year. Matthew Stafford has not been that good this season. I know the Rams have had a lot of injury problems. I mean, Cooper Kupp's been injured the whole year. He's supposed to come back this weekend. And then after that, they don't really have another receiver. But even with that, I would just go ahead. I would keep Sam Darnold, who's having a great year. Possibly extend Sam Darnold, because you don't know what's going to happen with how JJ. I was trying to think of what his name was.
What was it, like a labrum or something like that?
Yeah. So you don't know how he's going to return next year. Stafford has injury problems. He showed that in Detroit. He's shown that with the Rams. Darnold's been great so far. I would stick with him. But for all the people saying that Stafford is the better quarterback right now, I don't believe that's true, to be honest.
Darnold's looked like an MVP.
He has. Week 7 recap has started on Thursday night. The Broncos blew out the Saints 33-10. Bo Nix had 164 yards, passing 75 rushing yards. Javonte Williams, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns. Spencer Rattler had 172 passing yards before he got hurt. This Broncos team could be a major threat in the playoffs if Bo Nix can continue to be solid. The Broncos have arguably the best defense besides the Vikings in the league. And their offense is putting up good numbers. I don't know how, but they are. The Jags blew out the Patriots 32-16 in London. Trevor Lawrence, 193 yards and a touchdown. Tank Bigsby had 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. Drake May, 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. It was a good decision for the Patriots to draft Drake May. It's too bad that their team is just straight ass. The Packers beat the Texans 24-22 on a game-winning field goal by newly signed Brandon McManus. We finally have a kicker. Jordan Love, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also threw 2 interceptions. What's new? Romeo Doubs, 94 yards. C.J. Stroud was held to just 86 passing yards. Packers defense is elite. Joe Mixon, 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bills dominated the Titans 34-10. Just to tell you, the Titans led this game 10-7 at halftime. Josh Allen, 323 yards and 2 touchdowns. Crazy stat for this season. So, you know that in the prior years, since he got drafted, actually, Josh Allen has led the league in interceptions. He has yet to throw an interception this season. Keon Coleman, the rookie, had 125 receiving yards. Amari Cooper, in his Bills debut, had 66 yards and a touchdown. For the Titans, Mason Rudolph had 215 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. The Eagles blew out the Giants 28-3. Jalen Hurts, 114 yards, a touchdown, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Saquon had one of his best career games against his old team. 17 carries for 176 yards and a touchdown. And since it was such a bad blowout, Drew Lock actually replaced Daniel Jones later in the game. So it'll be interesting to see if they stick with Daniel Jones or move to Drew Lock. Either way, the Giants are really bad. The Lions outlasted the Vikings 31-29. They kicked a game-winning field goal. This was probably the best game of the weekend. I wish I would have watched it, but instead I watched my Packers win. Jared Goff, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 112 yards and a touchdown. Sam Darnold, 259 yards, a touchdown and a pick. And Aaron Jones had 93 yards and a touchdown in his return from injury. So this is the first time the Vikings have lost this season. The Lions now take over the top spot in the NFC North. And as of today, since the Bears had a bye week, as of today, every single NFC North team would be in the playoffs. This is the best division in football. The Seahawks dominated the Falcons 34-14. It's just amazing that the Seahawks can either be a top 5 team in the league or they can just be the worst. Geno had 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. DK had 99 yards and a touchdown. He got hurt later in the game. Kirk Cousins had 232 yards, touchdown, and 2 picks. Since they were getting blown out the last drive, they had Michael Penix, who came in. He threw 1 pass, completed it for 14 yards. So, yeah. Bijan, 103 yards and a touchdown. The Bengals outlasted the Browns 21-14. Joe Burrow finally got his first career win against the Browns in Cleveland. He had 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. Touchdowns went to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Nick Chubb in his return, it was not a very good return. 22 yards and a touchdown. He averaged 2 yards per carry. But, I mean, the dude
could have possibly not been able to play football again.
Yeah. And now, the bad thing is that they're going to use him so much now with Deshaun being out.
Yeah.
The Colts beat the Dolphins in just a great game, 16-10. Anthony Richardson still sucks. 129 yards. He had 56 rushing yards. Tyler Goodson had 51 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Tyler Huntley had 87 yards and a touchdown before he got benched. The Commanders blew out the Panthers 40-7 despite Jaden Daniels getting injured on the first drive of the game. He has a rib injury. I believe he has fractured ribs. He's week to week. He better play this weekend, and I'll get into that later whenever we actually go through the matchups. So in his replacement, Marcus Mariota, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brian Robinson Jr., 71 yards and a touchdown. The Panthers, it was bad. Their only touchdown came from Chuba Hubbard. Andy Dalton had 93 yards, 2 interceptions. They actually put Bryce Young in for the last drive of the game, and he finished the game with -4 passing yards. It's impressive. The Rams outlasted the Raiders 20-15. Stafford had 154 yards and a pick. Kyron Williams continued his touchdown streak. He had 76 yards and 2 tutties. Minshew, who came in for Aiden O'Connell, had 154 yards and 3 interceptions. Chiefs beat the 49ers 28-18 in a Super Bowl rematch. Mahomes 154 yards and 2 interceptions. He also scored a rushing touchdown. Kareem Hunt 78 yards, 2 tutties. And Brock Purdy 212 yards, 3 interceptions, 2 rushing touchdowns. Not the Purdy and Mahomes we're used to seeing. The Steelers spoiled the new-look New York Jets on Sunday night, 37-15. Russell Wilson had 264 yards and 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown in his first career start as a Steeler. Najee had 102 yards and a touchdown on the ground. Pickens, 111 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers, on the other hand, 276 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Breece Hall had a great game, 38 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. He also had 103 receiving yards. Devontae Adams looked okay in his first game as a Jet, but the Jets still have a lot to clean up. On Monday, there were 2 games. The Cardinals beat the Chargers 17-15 on a last-second field goal. Kyler Murray, 145 yards, touchdown, a pick, and a rushing touchdown. James Conner had 101 yards. Justin Herbert had 349 yards, but yet they did not score a touchdown in the game. The Ravens blew out the Bucs 41-31. This was not even close to being what the final score said. Because when I say blew out the Bucs 41-31, you're like, oh, Nathan, it's 10 points. That's because the Bucs scored in garbage time, and it was actually a terrible game. Lamar, go ahead, give him the MVP award again. He had 281 yards and 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, 169 yards on the ground. Rashad Bateman, 121 yards and a touchdown. Baker had 370 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Rachaad White had his best game of the season. He had 2 receiving touchdowns. And Cade Otton, for the first time, over 100 yards receiving. He is going to be their best receiver, although he's a tight end, since their top 2 receivers are injured.
So this team went from great to just horrible now.
Yes. The bad thing is that whole division is bad now. Because, I mean, the Saints haven't impressed anybody. The Panthers are the Panthers. The Bucs, who looked like they were going to run away with the division, now don't. Baker has nobody to throw it to besides Cade Otton, unless they go out and make a deal. I know they're interested in Cooper Kupp. And then the Falcons have been very disappointing, to say the least, with Kirk Cousins.
I think Baker and Cooper will be a good duo because they was already a duo in LA and they were pretty good together.
Thank you.
Just saying.
So Week 8 begins on Thursday night. It is your Vikings. Talking about Vikings-Rams trade, we got Vikings-Rams on Thursday night.
Sam Darnold proves he's the better QB, and he goes out and kicks Stafford's ass.
I'm going with the Vikings. The Rams have no offensive weapons. Cooper Kupp may be returning. It won't matter. He'll end up getting hurt again because that's all he does at this point of his career. Kyron Williams will probably score a touchdown because he has in every game for the last season and a half. But the Vikings defense is much better than the Rams offense. They're going to be able to shut them down. Packers and Jaguars.
Packers.
I'm also going with the Packers. This is a certified trap game for us, though.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the Packers. Jets and Patriots.
I'm going Patriots.
I'm also going with the Patriots. The Jets have not impressed me at all. Eagles and Bengals.
Bengals. They're back on track.
I'm also going to go with the Bengals. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts just can't get it going. I don't know what it is, but their offense just isn't clicking besides Saquon.
Yeah.
Although the Bengals defense...
It's horrible.
The Bengals defense could allow 100 points to a JFL team at this point. They're trash. And unless you're the Giants. Giants made them look good a few weeks ago. Titans and Lions.
Lions
are going to blow them out of the water. This is probably a huge game for the NFC South. Falcons and Bucks.
Falcons.
I'm also going to go with the Falcons. Cardinals and Dolphins.
Cardinals.
I'm also going with the Cardinals. Tua is supposed to be back, I believe, next week. Either this week or next week. He also said that he will not wear the Guardian cap. I don't agree with that decision, but...
It's his life.
Yep. Ravens and Browns.
I'm going with the Ravens.
Damn it. I'm switching it. I was going to go with the Ravens. The Ravens are the best offense. The Ravens are the best team in football right now. Give me the Browns. Give me Jameis Winston.
Oh my God.
Give me Jameis Winston. Browns win. Colts and Texans.
That's idiotic. Texans.
Wait, hey, strange things have happened this season.
I mean, the Ravens do blow leads.
They do.
So,
I'm also going to go with the Texans against the Colts. It'd be a different story. The Colts would be a totally different story if they had Joe Flacco starting. But Anthony Richardson is just straight trash. Saints and Chargers.
Saints.
I'm going with the Chargers. I don't even know who's starting at quarterback for the Saints this week. I don't know if Ritter. If Rattler is going to be back, or if it's going to be I don't even remember what the Jay Kaner or whatever the hell his name is. Either way, it's Chargers. Bills Seahawks.
Bills.
No, I'm also going with the Bills. This is the week that the Seahawks will look like a bottom 5 team in the league. This is why I hope that Jaden Daniels plays. Bears Commanders, possibly the first matchup between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to go with Commanders if Jaden Daniels plays.
I'm going to go with the Commanders even if he doesn't play. Because I believe Marcus Mariota looked really good last week. I know it was against the Panthers. But I'm going to go with the Commanders. Panthers and Broncos. I'm also going to go with the Broncos. You want a team to bet on to have the least amount of points this week? The Panthers. They barely scored last week against the Commanders defense that sucks. Broncos have a top 2 defense in the league. They may score negative points. Chiefs and Raiders.
Chiefs.
I'm also going to go with the Chiefs.
Hey, the Raiders defeated them last year.
They did. But Gardner Minshew sucks.
Yeah.
The Sunday night game is 2 teams that desperately need a win, the Cowboys and the 49ers.
Niners.
I'm also going to go with the 49ers. And Monday night is Giants and Steelers.
I'm
also going to go with the Steelers. Who the hell is going to watch that game? Why do we just continue to have Why have the Giants been on national television 2 out of the last 3 weeks? Like in a primetime game. They don't deserve any primetime game. They don't deserve to be a freaking team right now. They suck. No offense to Danny Dimes. Moving on to the association. The NBA started last night. Your Celtics beat the Knicks. They absolutely blew out the Knicks 132-109. They also tied the record with 29 threes in the game. They could have broke the record, but they missed all 13 after they tied it. Jason Tatum, 37 points, 4 boards, 10 assists. Derek White, 24 points. Jaylen Brown, 23 points and 7 boards. For the Knicks, Brunson had 22. Miles McBride had 22 off the bench. He missed just 1 shot. Cat had 12 points, 7 rebounds in his Knicks debut. Mikal Bridges had 16 points as his Knicks debut. Mikal Bridges, the Nets won this trade right now, unless Mikal Bridges can fix his shot. Because he changed his shot. I don't know if you saw it. He changed his shot. It now has a hitch in it, and he cannot shoot at all. In the first half, he went 0 for 5 from the field and 0 for 4 from 3. In the preseason, he was terrible. He can't shoot anymore. And if he doesn't change it back, which I don't know why, I'm pretty sure he was a career 38% from 3 shooter. Why would you change your shot? 38% from 3 is pretty damn good over a career. Why would you change it? The other game that happened was Anthony Davis dominating for the Lakers as they downed the Timberwolves 110-103. Davis had 36 points, 16 boards, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Rui was second on the team with 18 points. LeBron had 16. He also passed Kobe Bryant for the most missed field goals in NBA history. It only took him about 5 years longer. So that's just another bad look for Kobe. He doesn't care, though. Ant had 27 points. Randall, in his debut for the Timberwolves, had 16 points and 9 rebounds. So the biggest takeaways from yesterday, still the best team in the NBA. The Knicks may be overrated unless Mikal Bridges can fix his shot. The Lakers can only go as far as Anthony Davis takes them. Anthony Davis is their best player now since LeBron's getting up there in age, although LeBron's still a great player. And Anthony Davis is going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. Those are my takeaways. Another takeaway is Timberwolves should not have got rid of Cat.
Yeah.
Other news around the NBA, Joel Embiid is set to miss the first week of the season with a knee injury. What's new? The NBA is supposed to, according to Shams, the NBA is supposed to be looking into this and actually investigating them. So they'll probably end up getting fined. Paul George is also out for their opener, which is tonight or last night whenever you're listening to this. So the new experiment in Philly is off to a terrible start. The Nuggets extended Aaron Gordon. I wouldn't have gave him what they gave him, but teams are making really stupid decisions on their extension deadline. Because, I mean, the Hawks gave Jalen Johnson. Now, Jalen Johnson had a great year last year. Had his breakout season. They gave him $30 million a year guaranteed. Sorry to tell you, Jalen Johnson ain't a $30 million a year guaranteed guy. Or he could prove me wrong and go out there and become the best player on the team. The Rockets finally extended both Sengun and Jalen Green. Jalen Green took a little pay cut to help with the team. So good for him. I respect that.
And he's also could be one of the best players in the league.
His contract also made him a top trade target. And the Rockets will be stupid and probably trade him.
Well, that's because they're dumb.
That's a fact. Moving on to baseball. The World Series is set. It is Yankees-Dodgers.
Gross.
It is what nobody wanted to see except for the MLB. It begins on Friday. Of course, ALCS and NLCS were not really competitive.
No. Especially the Dodgers Mets.
Yeah. Giancarlo Stanton won ALCS MVP, and Tommy Edman won NLCS MVP. And good job, Cardinals, for getting rid of another guy who, goes to a new team and just does great.
It's 3 now that have won NLCS MVP. Yeah. And Randy, Adolis, and not Tommy.
Well, yeah, just a CS MVP. Not NLCS.
Same thing.
Because Randy and...
Same thing.
So Yankees-Dodgers begins Friday. Who wins the series?
Dodgers.
I'm going with the Yankees. Not because I don't want to see the Dodgers. I want to see either team. I want to see Juan Soto win another ring. Now, I hate that it may come outside of Washington, but he wins a ring with the Yankees, and he's going to leave.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He get paid
by the Nationals.
Okay.
I also trust the Yankees pitching more than the Dodgers pitching because the Dodgers probably going to have at least 2 games of bullpen starts. And the Yankees' bullpen has been unbelievable. They also have not faced a good team like the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, these were the best 2 teams all season. Very disappointing. I'm very happy basketball is back because I may not watch a World Series game because I don't want to watch either one of them. On to college football. Week 8 recap. Number 13, BYU came back to defeat Oklahoma State 38-35 in the final seconds. Number 6, Miami outlasted Louisville 52-45. Number 19, Mizzou escaped with a win over Auburn 21-17, despite their quarterback going down. Number 11, Tennessee took down number 7, Alabama 24-17. It's officially time to say Jalen Milroe is not him. Number 22, Illinois dominated number 24, Michigan 21-7. Number 9, Iowa State escaped an upset by UCF 38-35. And the biggest game of the week also was a complete snooze fest. Number 5, Georgia dominated number 1, Texas 30-15. It was not as close as what the score says. The fact that Texas benched Quinn Ewers for Arch Manning before the half and then switched back to Ewers in the second half made zero sense. But pretty sure if you bench a guy, you should just keep him benched.
Yeah.
That's what I do. But Quinn Ewers is still their starter, according to their head coach. So the new rankings with Texas losing, that now propels Oregon to the number 1 spot. Number 2 is Georgia. Number 3 is Penn State. 4, Ohio State. Texas falls to 5. Miami is 6. Tennessee 7. LSU 8. Clemson is 9. And Iowa State is 10. Alabama, after their loss, moved down 8 spots to 15. Vanderbilt is ranked 25th, which is just surprising. And Michigan fell from the rankings, just like I said they would before the season began. Week 9 preview. It's another big week of college football. It starts out with Syracuse and number 19, Pitt. I'm going with Syracuse. Upset. Number 17, Boise State and UNLV.
Boise State.
I'm also going with Boise State. Nobody can stop Genty. Number 3, Penn State at Wisconsin.
Penn State.
No. Wisconsin, we're on a roll. Braden Locke looks like a good QB. Wisconsin's going to upset Penn State. Get this, we got absolutely murdered by Alabama early in the year. That was the second week of the season. You can't say, second week of the year. You get blown out. You can't say that defines a team. They've came back. They're good now. I'm gonna beat Penn State. We play against Oregon later in the year. Upset Oregon. You imagine upset number 3, upset number 1 if Oregon doesn't lose. We're in the college football playoff. We go on to make a run in the Big Ten. Ohio State and Oregon loses. We're 3rd in the Big Ten right now. 3rd. Everybody counted out Wisconsin and Bucky the Badger. You never count out the Wisconsin Badgers. They win this week. Another big Big Ten game, although Nebraska decided not to show up last week, is Nebraska and Ohio State.
Nebraska sucks. Ohio State.
I'm also going to Ohio State. Big game for Notre Dame. Number 12, Notre Dame versus number 24, Navy. I'm also going with Navy. I don't know what it is about these, the military academies, or whatever the hell you call them. Army's ranked. Navy's ranked. They're going on a run. Notre Dame cannot lose this game. They cannot lose it. Oklahoma, 18, Ole Miss.
I'm going with Oklahoma.
I'm going with Ole Miss. Oklahoma cannot throw the ball. Big game in the Big Ten, number 20, Illinois. Nobody expected Illinois to be this good. And number 1, Oregon. I'm also going with Oregon. The fact that Illinois only put up 21 last week on a poor Michigan team. Oregon's going to wipe the floor with them. A big game in the SEC. If you want to actually say there's big games in the SEC outside of Georgia and Texas. Number 21, Mizzou versus number 15, Alabama.
How long is Brady Cook out?
I don't know.
If Brady Cook is playing, Mizzou. But if not, Alabama.
It's Alabama either way. Alabama is not going to lose 2 in a row. Mizzou's going to be unranked after this week. And I'm an idiot for saying that they can make it to the college football championship game. Number 5, Texas versus number 25, Vanderbilt.
Texas.
I'm also going with Texas. Although this is a for Vandy, this is a big. If they win this and you beat Alabama when they were 1, then you beat Texas, and you win out the rest of the year. It's college football playoff. Probably the best game of the week. Number 8, LSU. Number 14, Texas A&M.
LSU.
I'm also going with LSU. And the last game is 22 SMU versus Duke.
SMU.
I'm going upset Duke. I don't even know any players on Duke. All I know is that they have one loss. Moving on to other sports, Joey Logano won at Las Vegas. He clinched a spot in the championship 4. A very, very interesting race, to say the least.
It was actually a pretty good race. All things considered, be in Las Vegas.
I watched part of it. Tyler Reddick flipped.
And he still drove that thing off.
The 4 guys below the cut line are they're in major trouble.
Yeah,
because those 4 guys had major issues last week. Of course, Homestead is this weekend. So who wins?
Miami. Who's good at Miami? I'm gonna go Denny Hamlin.
You're an idiot. Who's good at Miami? Let's see. It's a highline track. So Tyler Reddick or Kyle Larson. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. Wins and punches his ticket to the championship 4. As long as he doesn't get wrecked. Also, NASCAR came out today.
Oh, his pit could have screwed him over again.
NASCAR came out today, and who would have guessed this would happen? A race that happened in the 1970s. That was won by Bobby Allison. They declared there was no winner in that race. Today, they declared that Bobby Allison won that race and now breaks the tie with Darrell Waltrip with 85 career Cup wins. If you had a bet that Bobby Allison would be awarded a win in the 21st century, you could have won a shit ton of money.
I don't think there was even a bet for that.
Exactly. But imagine if there was.
Yeah.
The fact is, why are we even going back to the 70s? Who cares at this point? Is Bobby Allison even still alive?
I think he passed away a couple of years ago. I think.
That makes it even worse.
Let me look at Bobby Allison. I know one of the Allisons. Davey is. No.
Yeah. Yes, because he died in a helicopter crash.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he passed a few years ago.
Bobby Allison. He's still alive. He's
Is
80,
he really?
He is.
Huh.
He's 86 years old.
Well, that makes it somewhat better that he's actually around to see it. But, other than that, why are we going back in time to change stuff?
Yeah. It was already set in stone.
You know who's pissed off today?
Darrell Waltrip.
Darrell Waltrip.
Should be. That's what, for 5th all time?
Yeah, something like that. Charles Leclerc won the U.S. Grand Prix. It was a very boring race. I watched the end of it. Leclerc absolutely dominated his teammate.
Signs.
Yeah, finished second. And then Max ended up finishing third because Lando he accrued some penalties because he couldn't learn how to keep it on the track. The Mexican Grand Prix is this weekend.
I'm going to go Charles Leclerc. He goes again. They dominated.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with Max Verstappen.
Oh.
Said I'd never pick him. This is a different year, though. Max wins, and he locks up the championship. If he wins a race, the championship's locked.
Is it?
Basically.
Okay.
Unless
so pretty
he just
much
DNFs.
Lando has to pretty much win out the rest of the year. And
He has to finish ahead of him every race.
that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much over.
Yeah. Unless Lando goes on a generational run and just gets a podium every time, and somehow Max just
DNFs every race.
Yeah, which I don't think that's gonna happen.
Unless play on hire some people, I will give you like $1,000 to put Max Verstappen in the catch fence. Not catch fence. They don't have catch fences really. Put him in the sand pit.
I will say I probably will watch this race because I love
the Mexican GP is awesome. It's a great track.
It is a great track.
Now, Coda sucks. Coda's boring.
Oh, it is.
The start was awesome. After lap 2, I turned it off because it sucked. It got spaced out.
It's just a bad track overall.
Yeah,
it's bad. It's even bad in NASCAR.
It just gets so spaced
Why do you think
out.
IndyCar doesn't want to go there?
Yeah.
The New York Liberty defeated the Minnesota Lynx in overtime in Game 5 to win their first WNBA title. I'm not going to get into it, but people are saying that this was rigged. Also, it looks bad on the WNBA commissioner whenever she came out to hand them the championship trophy and she's wearing a dress that has the New York skyline on it. So that looks really bad. The refs were terrible. I didn't watch. I was flipping through 3 different games because it was Sunday night. So I was flipping through, Jets, Steelers, Dodgers, Mets. Although I don't know why I watched the second half of that game.
I didn't watch a single one of these
And
games because frankly, I forgot it was on. Didn't give 2 shits about it.
what?
The WNBA.
I don't watch any besides I watched overtime. I knew they were going to overtime. The overtime was one of the worst overtime. There was 5 points scored in overtime. It was terrible to watch. So yeah, congrats to the Liberty. Congrats to the WNBA for getting it your way. Apparently, I'm not saying you rigged it, but
Burger King.
Burger King.
Have it your way.
Just because of that, sponsor us. Free Whoppers. Although I've never had a Whopper in my life.
Basically, you have the Bacon King has
Yeah,
basically a
well,
waffle.
shut up.
The only difference is the stuff on it.
Yeah, cool. I'm not talking about Burger King. You have anything else?
No.
Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the NBA. The NBA's back. Thank God. Go check out. I got a new job. Go check out my articles, Sporting News, thesportingnews.com. Just search my name. Go get me some. Give me some views. Enjoy college football. Another big weekend in the NFL. Hopefully it's not like last weekend with all the injuries. Enjoy Homestead. Enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix. And most of all, if you want to, enjoy the World Series.
I'll still watch every game.
Thank you guys for listening. Come back here next week. Peace.